BMW M340d. Now, BMW don't usually make mistakes, or when they do, they usually cover them up as quickly as they made them. But in case of this car that we're driving, I believe BMW made a huge mistake by not giving it the same limelight as other performance-derived vehicles in their lineup.
The Bavarian Engine Works Company, which is pretty much the closest direct translation in English for what BMW stands for. And because my German is nowhere near as good as my English, I'll stick to what I know. In saying that, the name BMW to the competition sounds as good as a finishing move of a wrestler, because the experience of driving this M340d feels like a chokehold to the rest.
It hides in car parks just like any other saloon, and the cockpit and the cabin are a dream to be in. It gives you the best of both performance and comfort without breaking the bank. The car is practical and user-friendly, and if you walk past it in a car park, you would assume it's just another 320d, up until you hear that monstrous 6-cylinder underneath it roar.
After all the rubbish I've said about BMWs, someone out there has actually allowed me to drive one for about a month. So we're currently sat in the BMW M340d, and this one isn't for the faint-hearted. Forget what I said in that earlier TikTok about the M340i. This right here, this has left me with a load of questions. I mean, BMW fanboys, you guys always say that BMW don't make a mistake, but I think they made it with this one. The car, where'd you start? The color's perfect. The interior is really comfortable. There is a few things that I would prefer BMW to do, but that's personal preference. The seat for the driver isn't the most comfortable place to be in. But when you pair it with the other bits that they've put with the car, I guess it works. It's got a chunkier steering wheel. It's got paddles, well, flappy paddles for changing gear. It's the LCI model, so it's got the digital dash, it's got the new style gear lever, and it's got different driving modes. But most importantly, it's how it makes you feel. I'm a big fan of saloon cars, and this one here has made me smile for the past week. I've lived with it for the past week. Ben hasn't driven it yet, but I'm sure we will reach a consensus when we say this has to be the best saloon that we've driven in a very long time. As you drive it, it starts off in comfort, which does what it says on the tin. It's very comfortable. It's your town driving. I'm gonna take the family to Waitrose. I'm gonna do little bits and pieces that you don't necessarily need the car to get its bitey bits out and scream at people. But as you go through the gears, which I will in a second, as you go through the modes, which I will in a second, this car becomes a whole nother beast. I've just put it into sport mode, and this is Sport Plus. I've gone straight for the Sport Plus, and you can feel the car wants to do more. It wants to jump at you. It's changing gears more aggressively, and most importantly, that note has changed. The rear note has changed now. The car is now a different animal. For anyone that buys this car, you might as well keep it in Sport Plus mode. There is no point in using all the other modes that a car comes with. They're boring. This is the mode this car needs to live in. On top of the Sport Plus, the adaptive, the Eco Pro, you also get wireless Apple CarPlay, which you don't get with most BMWs. It's an optional extra. You've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, automatic lights. But the one thing BMW did miss out on is not putting automatic high beam assist on this car, which for me is a letdown. Everything about this car is subtle. It's designed to blend in a car park where most people that pull up next to you assume you're driving a 320d, up until you put your foot down and you leave them for dust. And that's what I like about this car. Every BMW fanboy, every BMW fan wants one of these cars, but it's not for everyone. Definitely not for me. But if someone was to give it to me to live with, I'll take it. I think for the type of driving I do, it's wasted. I'll rather have the 340i. But that's not to say I've fallen in love with this car. I do like this car. I love everything about this car. But just a few little things.
You see me driving the car and what I think of the car? Now let's hear what Ben, our resident non-believer, has to say about this particular vehicle.
Okay, now it's my turn in the BMW M340d, the motorsport trim. And yeah, this is my first time driving it, so I'm coming from a different perspective and getting a feel for it. And I'll tell you immediately, yo, this thing picks up. It's got like a very, very nice linear pickup when it comes to how it just drives through. And pick up it does. The BMW M340d is powered by a turbocharged twin-scroll 3-litre inline 6-cylinder diesel engine that produces 335 brake horsepower and a max peak torque of 516 pounds-feet or 700 newton meters. So I'm going to go through the motion and kind of give you my 2 cents on what I'm feeling for it. You know, is this something that really harkens up my alley and what I look for in a saloon? I'll tell you what, I'm probably more of a hatchback person. More old school, still prefer manual gearbox. And do you know what? I feel like this kind of needs it. The driving position for me, personally, is on point. This makes me feel like I want to drive the car fast. The car's just kind of asks me like, yo, my dials are red. Look at the instrument cluster, man, it's digital. It's red, it's ready. You know, I'm all about the M, motorsport speed. I'm feeling it, This steering wheel, yeah, this steering wheel's on point. It's designed in such a way where it just allows me to just plant my thumbs right here. It makes me want to hold it. It's nice, it's chunky, it's a good size. It ain't no steering wheel trying to hide away from nothing. So I'm definitely liking that. I will say though, as good as the braking power is, I would want more feel within the pedal itself. Just the initial engagement at the top end before you get to the mid, before you gradually push in, it just feels a bit too soft. So that's something that feels a bit disorientating, where it doesn't give me that much confidence. But when it comes to the power delivery, yeah, BMW have got this down. I get it. BMW fanboys, I get it. I do get it. I get why you guys get onto us about Beamers and stuff. And as someone that probably prides himself being a bit more Audi-like, yeah, you know, I'm feeling it. Do you know what I'm also feeling? When I'm actually driving this car, do you know what song comes to mind? Lloyd Banks. And the real ones know it. Beamer, Benz, and Bentley. And there's a reason why he says Beamer first, because looks like the driving dynamics is really down. The car feels planted, chassis is really well balanced. Yeah, it curves, man. It just cuts. It cuts. Something about when you're driving this car tells you that, yo, I've got more to give, you know. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Now, if the post-pandemic has got you in a chokehold like it does with me, with how big I've become, yeah, these seats ain't really for you. I think if you're a bit slimmer and you're a bit more tucked in, these seats make a lot of sense. They're very, very secure. But, you know, I think they're more in love with my love handles than I am. So let's kind of put it out there as such. But away from that, the driving position itself on point. Yeah, this car feels planted. And if I look at how the car just makes me feel, there's a simplicity to the dash. There is still buttons, people. Yeah, there's still buttons. You know, you've got a digital instrument cluster. It feels simple, but not boring. That's one of the things where sometimes with Audi, I feel like they try and make it too simple, where it feels like I'm in a stealth cockpit. And I want my cockpit to actually feel, you know, some way where I feel like I'm engaged. And yeah, BMW make me feel that way. Yeah, boy. Yeah, this is going. This is going. Like here right now on the braking, it's got the braking power, but I always hesitate because I just don't feel the bite at the top. Apart from that though, as a first drive, yeah, this 340d, it's got the others in a bit of a chokehold, not gonna lie.
I genuinely have to say, I want to piss off the BMW boys.
I'm probably gonna balance things because I might be saying that they're right, you know. This one might have just swung me still. How? Honestly, the driving dynamics, it just makes sense. I low-key get why BMW fanboys love their BMs. Like, it's dicks.
They like the BM. And don't get me wrong, this car, in its present stature, brilliant.
Yeah.
But there is a but.
Ooh, I like that.
Definitely a but. And it's the seating position. Why buy a BMW and get the worst seat in the range?
You see, the position is good. The feel of the seat, oof, I don't know, maybe like the post-pandemic has got me in a chokehold and I need to lose some weight because it was love and the love handle was way more than I would. So I don't know, maybe it's the comfort. I feel like you have to be a stick man, but...
I am a stick man. Well, I'm a chunky stick man, but it still doesn't agree with me. I've lived with this car for almost 2 weeks.
Fair play, true.
And I can't find the best position. Other than the seat, this thing right here,
steering is on point.
Yeah.
The steering's on point. In my opinion, the steering's on point. The instrument cluster, all being digital, is on point. The visibility is on point. There's something about this simplicity of the dash, but doesn't feel boring. That's one of the things that threw me off in the Audi, where it almost felt too simple, where I felt like I was alienated where I was sitting. Everything about here makes me feel like, yeah, it wants me to just go fast and go fast quickly.
One bit of criticism as you're talking, we're in an M Sport 340d.
Oh yeah, this is the M trim.
But the display shows a base model. That's a base model steering wheel. It doesn't look like what we're sat in. Criticism of BMW, if you're gonna do the display, match the car, because everything about this car screams money, screams comfort. It's got the lights inside.
Yeah,
They
the
are
light trims.
When you're driving
Proper
at night,
nice.
they make that journey easier. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard.
Yeah.
Amazing. Reversing camera, brilliant. That Sport Plus mode,
Oh,
it's like a Jack Russell trying to bite you. It's like he just wants to bite you all the time.
I'm not gonna lie. The way it sticks for me, the way it sticks in the corners, and the way it's just flat on the road. For me, that was just making me feel like, yeah, I've been living in that IS300H, and this definitely has in a chokehold. And I get it. This is, mid 2022, and that one's like, end or beginning 2019, different ranges, but they sit within that place of how do they make you feel with that saloon, sedan size car. And yeah, this is low key got it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's got the best place. It's the best place to be at.
Yeah.
When you're driving a car.
Yeah.
I can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
BMW fanboys, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
It is a lovely car to sit in.
Yeah.
However, there are a few bits that, as a passenger, it felt really uncomfortable. And when I was speeding up, I don't know what it's like at the back, but it looks like it's only got enough space for 1.5 adults because the seats are so small. Imagine putting car seats in the back, then the cabin gets smaller. But apart from that, I'm actually struggling to point faults. Yeah, the buttons here are a bit old school.
They're old school, but at least let's appreciate buttons, because nowadays buttons don't exist.
Touch, yes.
Everything's touch, and that's not always the safest way, but it's trying to be more futuristic. And I'm gonna add to it, I'm in a passenger seat now, and I feel more comfortable here than I do in the driving seat. So, I'm on your side that the seat itself takes away from what is arguably just a very, very on-point place to stay. And I will add to it, like I stated before, it's got good braking performance, but just the top-end feel, it makes me hesitate because this thing is a bit rapid. So you want the brakes to equally match how it feels when you're going. But apart from that, bro, I'm gonna say this, yeah.
Out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah, this is a strong 8.5 for me. Especially on the first drive, that leaves an impression where I've got to be honest, yeah, they're doing something, and I get a BMW. And what Goodwood, and when I sat in the M3 CS, I get a small inkling of where that comes from in a way. So
do you
yeah.
still agree with my original statement that you don't need to buy the M car? You
Yeah.
can just stick with an M Lite.
Oh.
And an M Lite will do you well.
Definitely. And based on me agreeing with that and us agreeing on that, they're gonna hate us more. But that's literally our thoughts on the 340D.
So BMW fanboys were really sorry. I still wouldn't go for an M car. I will stick with an M Lite, spec it to its eyeballs, be uncomfortable,
Yeah,
but still have money to pay for fuel.
it works.
I had so much fun in this car, and it got me thinking, Why buy a full-blown M car when BMW have a watered-down version that gives you similar characteristics for a fraction of the cost? And if money's not a thing, please, yes, buy the M car. But if you're sensible like me and you want something that gives you the best of both worlds, then an M Lite or self-proclaimed M Lite might be the car for you.